New Zealand lamb racks are known worldwide for their taste, tenderness and being grass-fed. This makes them a high-quality product for our exports and our own consumption. To make sure the product is the best it can possibly be, there is regulation throughout the supply chain. Regulation can come in different forms, such as industry self-regulation or government stepping in and enforcing it. It can sometimes be very costly to businesses, but the advantages for industry and for final consumers always outweigh the costs. Lamb meat is derived from a sheep that is less than 1 year old. Lamb racks are one of the highest quality cuts of lamb. The rack is derived from the ribs of the lamb, and when they are Frenched, it means the bone is exposed, like the picture there. The average weight of a French lamb rack varies from around 0.3 kg to 0.5 kg. Racks are a very popular cut of meat, and because of this, reach a higher premium than other, more basic cuts. This is the supply chain of lamb racks. Each of these 7 steps have their own regulation and systems to ensure that the product is of the highest standard. The first 3 stages of the supply chain, the breeder/finisher, the transport company and the processor, must consider animal welfare during these stages in the supply chain. For the last 4 stages in the supply chain, food safety must be regulated to guarantee that the consumer has safe and adequate food. Animal welfare is a huge priority for every stakeholder involved in the lamb industry, including the consumer. In today's society, consumers want to know where their meat has come from and how it has been treated. If consumers were eating meat that was found out to be from a farm where the animals were not treated with compassion, they would almost certainly never buy that product again. Without animal welfare regulation, farmers would have free rein to do as they please to their animals. As the Animal Welfare Act 1999 is government legislation, it is the law to obey it. If you disobey it and are found guilty of breaking the Act, you will face penalties under the New Zealand government. In recent years, there have been many more individuals and groups and societies that have been campaigning for animal rights. This comes in the form of protests and petitions. The media are always interested in this, and in January 2018, Stuff posted an article saying that animal welfare complaints have doubled in the north, but few farms are actually prosecuted. According to this article, of 500 complaints, only 13 were prosecuted. I believe this is mainly for the objector not knowing enough about animal husbandry and laying unnecessary complaints. However, it still does happen, and it is good to see people being held accountable for their actions. If any person commits an offence against either Section 29, 31, 34 or 35 under the Animal Welfare Act, they can be convicted and have a maximum sentence of up to $50,000 or a prison term of up to 12 months or both. There are many benefits for the stakeholders because of the Animal Welfare Act 1999. It helps keep the reputation of farmers as carer of the animals rather than people that exploit them. Consumers have trust in their farmers that they will respect their animal and care for it to the best of their abilities. It can also be a benefit as lambs are sent to the works in prime condition rather than bruised, hungry or stressed animals. Food safety is a big concern for consumers around the world. Food safety must be strictly regulated as no company or person wants to sell a food product that could risk the safety of the consumer. Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, or HACCP, is an internationally recognised system used to identify and manage significant food safety hazards and ensure food safety for every stakeholder in the supply chain. Applying HACCP is mandatory as part of the operating a risk-based program, such as a food control plan under the Food Act 2014 or an RMP under the Animal Products Act 1999. In the processor part of the supply chain, proper hygiene systems are absolutely essential to keeping the lamb safe and free from bad bacteria. The workers in these plants have to wash their hands with hot water with soap, and all equipment must be cleaned with hot water also. All work surfaces, utensils and cutting boards must be clean. This is set out under Beef and Lamb New Zealand. With more chilled meat being sold from New Zealand processors, there is more of a food safety risk in the transportation part of the supply chain more than ever. The meat being shipped overseas has to be kept at -1 degrees plus or minus of 0.5 degrees. If this temperature is not right, then the meat can grow bacteria and become unsafe to consume. The biggest issue around regulation is the cost. These costs can often be pushed onto the consumer in most cases, but in competitive markets such as lamb racks, it makes it difficult. To stay competitive, New Zealand meat companies try to add more value to their lamb racks by having higher quality and tastier lamb products. This can also be done using new and improved marketing techniques. To conclude, there are many regulations throughout the supply chain that are essential to keeping the animal welfare of lambs up to standard and the food safety for consumers guaranteed. In time, there will be more regulation that New Zealand will have to adapt to, but through adding value, we will still be able to remain competitive in the world lamb market.